case of Stoni, Blair, and Stephen Barry is one that I think we need to talk about beyond the horrific circumstances of their deaths, because there were opportunities for intervention before they died. Their family had previously been investigated for allegations of abuse in 2002 and 2005, and their mother was referred to counseling. So this wasn't a situation where nobody had ever had reason to be concerned. And I think that's where the clinical piece gets really important, because chronic childhood abuse isn't just a series of bad events happening to a child. It's happening while the child's understanding of relationships, safety, authority, and themselves is developing. Stoni and Stephen were also living in an increasingly isolated family system. Their siblings reported that they had not attended school for 2 years, and their access to other adults and environments outside the home was severely restricted. That means there were fewer opportunities for another adult to notice something was wrong, but there was also less opportunity for the children to experience relationships that operated differently from the ones they were experiencing at home. When abuse is chronic and severe, the child doesn't get to step outside of it and process each experience from a safe distance. Their development is happening inside of that environment. Over time, that can affect attachment, emotional regulation, self-concept, expectations of caregivers, and what they understand about safety and relationships. And that's why the prior system involvement matters. Simply identifying abuse or referring a caregiver for counseling isn't necessarily the same thing as changing the environment the child is developing within. The intervention has to account for the child's safety, the family's relational dynamics, the caregiver's behavior, and whether the child actually has access to protective relationships outside of that system. Otherwise, you can technically provide a service while the underlying environment remains intact. And that's one of the things that stands out to me about this case. The system had opportunities to become a protective factor in these children's lives, but the children remained dependent on the same family system that was harming them. I'm saying this as someone with a master's in marriage and family therapy with a trauma specialization. When we're talking about chronic childhood abuse, we can't make the child responsible for finding the exit from a system they don't have the power to leave. The adults and institutions around them have to create that exit. And I actually want to do a separate video on their mother, because there's a lot more to unpack about her role in what happened to Stoni and Stephen and the psychological dynamics within that family.